one. Here we go. So yeah, so I have worked with clients in the past who are like, I have to have them fill out this form first, or I want to gather information on my website that is not just name, phone number, email, and they want to have a place to put that. So in your web in IDX, if you go to your web in IDX, you'll land here. And here are all of your custom pages. And in your, let's do this. Of course, I don't know if it's going to load, but we'll try it one more time. I'll show you where they end up after you make them. I'll let that load and see. But you can make any custom page you want. So I'm going to go into my custom pages. And I'm going to make a new page. So I'm going to say, let's say I want to do a first time home buyer questionnaire. I'm sure I spelled that wrong. Yes, I did. There we go. Thank God for spell check. And then whenever you're making a new page, you either have to nest it in a category you've already made, or you have to put it in a new category. So I'm going to make a new category for this. Just call it this category will show up. God, I wish that would load. I don't know. Let's see if I can get this other one to load. No, we just moved and my internet is kind of, I'll show you guys where it shows up. So you want to pick a category that is you're okay with the general public seeing. So when you do custom pages, you can either have the name of it there, but if you have a bunch of different questionnaires, you want to nest them in your directory, then whatever your category is what they're going to see. So you know, whatever you might want to call this, but I'm going to call it resources. You know, you'll be able to find it. And then in here, you can make a custom page and you can say, let's say that this is for your first time home buyers. So you could say, you know, first time home buyers, you know, help is here, whatever you want to say. If you want to put some information about first time home buying, you can put all that stuff in. And then, you know, you could say ready to get started, fill out this form and we'll get running. And then you're gonna go with your embed code. So this turns in everything you just said into code. And you need a little more snippet of code to add in your questionnaire. So if you go back here, I made a very slapped together questionnaire here. And I said, okay, I want this information. If you go into Google Forms, I don't know if has everybody should do that, Kelly. How do I do that poll thing? If everybody's done questionnaires before, or excuse me, Google Docs before or not, but you just, you know, if you're in Gmail up here, here's your forms. And you can create a form to do whatever it is you like to do, whatever you want to ask them. So back here over to the forms, if you hit send, instead of sending it to somebody, you're going to send it via the embed link. So that's that code I was talking about. So you can highlight and copy it, or you can just click copy. And also, if you look here, here's your pixels. Like if you want to adjust the way the pixels are, you can adjust it here before you copy the code. And then you just add it right underneath and save it. And there it is. So then if you save this guy, here. It's right here. Oh, I don't think so. I think that's one I tested before. First time homebuyer. Yeah, this is the new one. And I'm going to have a look at it. But, oh, good. It's going to load. Yay. And here's what it looks like on your page. And then when they submit it, obviously, all of that information then becomes stored in the responses. So you're going to say to me, well, Heather, that's great. How do I get what they just told me into my KV core? In order to do that, you need Zapier. So Zapier is one of my favorite things in the whole wide world because it connects so many things. But what you're going to need to do is create a spreadsheet. And here, I'm just going to call it first time home buyers form. I swear to God, I can spell, I just can't type. And I'm going to create it. So once you create that form, it's right here. Now, in order for this to work, you have to have a response, at least one response. So I always go in. Oh, I'm in the one I showed you before. Let's try this again. Goodbye. So in here, I'm going to preview it. And I'm just going to fill this out. I actually forgot to put a phone number. Oh, phone number's here. His name is Joe Byer. My bad. And I'm writing right now, and I'm looking in Portland, Oregon, which is where I am. Okay, and I need 4 bedrooms. So I'm going to hit submit. And then I'm going to go back and I'm going to say, I need my response spreadsheet. I'm going to call it something else because I made that other one and I don't want it to do that. First time home buyer, I'm going to say example. Yeah. No answers. Let me do that. Answers. Okay, and I'm going to create it. Now I've got a spreadsheet. I've got at least one response in there. So then I'm going to go over to Zapier. And I'm going to create a Zap. Now, there's paid versions of Zapier and there are free versions of Zapier. For this particular Zap, you do not need the paid version. You can totally use the free version. So you're going to use, I know you would think it'd be a Google form, but it's not because you're zapping from the sheet over to KV Core. So you're going to choose Google Sheets as your triggering event. You're going to choose whenever there is a new row on it. And then we're going to choose the account, which is mine right here. Hopefully that's the same. Yes, good. Whew, it's in the right Google one. Continue. And now I'm going to look for that spreadsheet that I made. And there it is. First time home buyer answers. Now, if you haven't connected yours yet, when you hit choose account, you would have to, connect your account, which it'll just say nothing's connected. And as long as you're signed into your Google, it'll find it and you say, yes, I want to connect. Where did I go? Okay, I got that. And then it's going to ask you for which worksheet because we just have one worksheet on here. So it's just the first one. Form responses one. And then we're going to hit continue. And now it's going to say, okay, I'm trying to find something. I want to make sure I can find it. Zapier wants to know. And it did. See, there's Joe Byer. There's all the information that I put in. Continue. And then KV Core is what you want to send it to. So the event in KV Core would be to create a lead, create a contact. And I think this is mine right there. Continue. And the first name is going to be, and actually I should have done that
I was just going to ask, is this going to be a stumper because you don't have first name, last name?
Yeah, when you're making your form, you might want to do first name, last name on your form. So in this case, I'm just going to I'm going to put it all in the first name. And if you ever have a lead source where it doesn't come in separated, I always put the whole name in first name because of the way our merge tags work, because it'll say hi, first name, comma. And if you put it in the last name, it'll say hi, nothing, where you'd rather say hi, Joe Buyer instead of hi, nothing. So I always, if I only have it, that's where I default to, but try and make it so that you can do first name, last name.
And I'm going to interject kind of an advanced little pro tip here. If you really, because you can choose the actual sheet rather than just, or excuse me, it's the sheet, right? Not the total Google sheet. You can choose the actual tab that you're on.
Yes.
You could, to keep the appearance of your form, so you just have first name, last name as Heather has it here. Technically speaking, if you really wanted to, you can set up a formula so that it would concatenate itself and move it onto a different sheet or into a different column if you really wanted to go that far. That's a little on the geeky side if you wanted to do that, but I mean, technically you could if you wanted to just, for appearance sake, leave it simple on the form and then mess with the formulas in Google Sheets, because
so she's saying that you could add another tab here and you could get really geeky in Google Sheets and copy all this over, and concatenating means to separate this into two different ones and then use that one instead of this one.
So you could really kind of line it up so that it matches exactly like what the data mapping would be when you're importing it.
To do that would be do a good job with your form. I did not do with my
first name, last name.
Exactly. Okay, so the lead type, this was a first-time home buyer, so this is a buyer lead that's going to come in. The last name we're going to leave blank because I screwed that up. The email is right here. The cell phone will be the phone number. So you're just mapping over from all of the things. And then these, it's like a new lead. You can put this, make this anything you want, but you could say home buyer form. I don't know that this actually comes over or not, but source will come over. So the source could be, now if you think about it, your source, there's lots of different sources. Zapier is the source it's going to give if you don't give it a source. But for me, I want it to know that it came from my home buyer questionnaire. So I could say that the source was first time home buyer questionnaire. Freaking A. There we go. So that, think about keeping it short though, because it does show up in your sources on your list of people. So you don't want it to be too terribly long. The date they registered, you can leave this blank. Just when it zaps over, KV Core will add that in as the date. Now, had you in your form said, actually you did do that. Where do you want to buy a property at? That could be the city. So you could say, interested in city, Portland, Oregon. Now, this will show up, I believe, there's Smart CRM, in the profile details of your home preferences location. Will show up right there for you. And same thing with the beds and baths. I don't know if you can do that in Zapier actually. You can't do that in Zapier. But you can do, if you ask for a price range, you could put it in there and whatnot. So these are all different options you could do. Then the note, you could say first name is looking to buy a home in Portland. with at least 4 bedrooms, and his timeline, oh, there, no, it's going to be a boy. Their timeline is now. So that will come over as a note in there. And then you can always put in a hashtag. So it could be, you know, first time home buyer, or you could do first. It has to be all one word, just like a hashtag, first time home buyer. And you can say, you know, if you want more than one tag, it could be, you know, this came from my custom pages, whatever you want to say. Again, Heather, custom pages. And then, so now we've got it all mapped through, and we're going to hit continue. And what they're going to do is they're going to send this test over. Now, hopefully I picked the right KV Core account. And we'll see if it showed up here. There he is. There's Joe Buyer. So if you click on him, you can see that he came in with the hashtags. He came in with the correct information. And he came in under the note, Joe Buyer is looking to buy a home in Portland, Oregon with at least 4 bedrooms, and his timeline is now. The other thing you can do, actually, if you want that hashtag, the timeline hashtag to come through, is you can go back to your setups and you can have another hashtag that is his timeline or his where he's looking or whatever it is that you did. Now, if you're going to do this, actually, I'll take that back. You can, because now is all one word. But when you're making, you got to think about these things when you're making your questionnaire. Let's go back to questions. You see how these are not all one word. So if you want something to come in as a hashtag, you want to make it a multiple choice so they can't, you know, put spaces and stuff. And you want it to be all one word, if that makes sense. Then you can bring anything in as a hashtag or whatever. So like if you wanted to do his preferred contact, we didn't even map that over. We could have put that in the note actually. Or if you wanted that to be a hashtag, so the all one word things, you could do that as well. Like I wanted to email and call him, whatever.
Now, Heather, as a pro tip, you know, thinking long term for, you know, the very best possible automated follow-ups, because hashtags can trigger some automations. If you were really trying to next level this strategy, how would you suggest they set up some automations to, and what would they be to trigger based on those hashtags you just used?
Well, definitely if you did a hashtag for text, let's say, or you did a hashtag for how they prefer to be contacted, and they just want to be contacted by text only, then you could have that hashtag trigger a text only campaign that doesn't have any emails in it. Or if they said, oh, I don't want you to call or text me, I just want you to email me, you could set up an email only campaign. Or if they're ready now, obviously that's a different campaign than if they're ready in a year. So if they're over a year away, you'd say, okay, let's make that be a long-term buyer campaign. I would just have that trigger it to begin with, so you're not messing around because you already know, or in a year or something. But if it's now or 6 months, obviously it would be a different campaign that you would want to trigger for something like that. And also you can trigger by source. So where did we go? His source is the first time home buyer questionnaire. If you have a special campaign for people who are first time home buyers and you want that source to trigger them, you could do that as well. So there's all sorts of ways that you can trigger campaigns and automation based on that. All the things that you've brought in. It would have to be a hashtag, or it couldn't, obviously can't be something out of the note, but it could be a hashtag or source. And the other thing, if you wanted to, in the note, if you put, you know, their his and their timeline is hashtag now. Then it's putting it right. There have to be no space there. Then actually, because you're sending over a note with a hashtag in it, that would also trigger the hashtag to come over instead of putting it here. So that is how you do all of those things. Anybody have any questions? Cool. Does anybody have any questions in general? I can actually answer anything else you guys want because we have a little time left. So this is kind of our new thing, is kind of show you a tip or a trick, and then it's open Q&A. Oh, that's the one thing I wanted to show you now that I got this page load. Up here, across here are all of those, is where your custom pages will live. So like obviously if resources are here, then that's the category, and you can nest the pages underneath. But if you just wanted a single page, you would just put the page here. And that is in your Webinar IDX. You go to your settings. You scroll way down here. Chat. Right here is your custom navigation. So you can either choose, you can choose to do a page, or you can choose to do a category, or both, and it will go up across the top. Anybody else have any questions? So James asked about the content. This particular thing is going to be available on, oh, Kelly answered it. So yeah, we're kind of revamping it. We actually would love to hear from you if there's something that you would like to see from Next Level. You do still have access to all of the Next Level portal with all of the extra learning information in there. There's lots of scripts, and there's lots of kind of custom content that's only exclusively for people within the Next Level in that portal.
Yeah, so my question would be, James, is there something that is that you would love to see that you don't see already as an exclusive member benefit, or even just in general for everybody here? We're really looking to get your feedback on things and topics that you would like to see brought to these webinars, because we would just want to take this entire series to that next level, and we want to make sure that we're meeting your expectations. So what would you like to see? Is it would it be more exclusive content? Would it be more roundtable discussions, open mic night, podcast style, unique topics, guest speakers outside of IRE? I'd love to get your feedback on that. And if you would like to participate in a survey that we're going to be pushing out, please make sure that you drop your email address in the chat so that we can include you and get your feedback, because we'd love to hear from you on how we can make this a better experience for everybody.
Yeah. And then James, just to answer your question about the drop down, so you can kind of see across mine. I made in my KV core, I'm going to go, I have like my newsletter as a custom page. So it shows up here as my newsletter. So as like I said before, if you just want it to go directly to the page, oh, crying out loud every time. Take two. Across, I finally got my thing to load. Across the top of my is my custom navigation right up here. And so I have my newsletter as just a page that it goes to. Where, oh, this is Megan's. This is what I did for Megan. So, which she's not on here anymore, but I made this for Megan back in the day. And so if you want people to sign up for your newsletter, this is what, you know, a landing page that you can create to redirect. So there's your newsletter. And then under partners, I have like handymen and lenders, let's say. And so in KV Core, I have partners and actually video testimonials as well. Whatever is that? Video testimonials, so are here. So these two are nested under video, and these two are nested under partners. And the way that you nest is, as I was saying before, when you're making your custom pages, it's those categories I was talking about. So if you make the category partners, lenders is a partner and handyman is a partner. So if I choose partner, if I choose the category partner in my custom navigation, then it will show here and it'll show everything that has that category associated with it nested underneath it. And then as far as newsletter goes, for instance, my newsletter, I just have the category and the page title are the same, but basically I chose the page to be here instead of the category to be here. So like back in my settings, it's super far down right here. I chose my newsletter just be a page in my navigation, and I chose these two categories to be there. So then you can see I've got these are all from already on your thing, but past resources, you've got newsletter, partners, video testimonials. So these are things that I added. And you can have as many, I think you're going to have as many as you want, although eventually you will run out of room across the top.
Yeah, it does. It starts to get ugly when you have a lot of navigation tabs across the
Which
top.
I always say, do as much nesting as you can.
It makes better sense. I think a good rule of thumb, and it also, you know, it does affect the, you know, the mobile experience when you're looking at it on a mobile device. So your better bet is to nest inside of the main navigation tabs. And I popped an article on how to customize the main navigation on your website into the chat. So if you want to grab that before you go, that came from the support center articles.
And then when the question you had about creating your custom navigation before you create the custom page, you actually want to create the custom page first, because if it's not there, you can't choose it when you're creating your custom navigation. So you always want to make your pages and your categories first, and then go back to your custom navigation, say, I want that category, or I want that page to do, you know.
And in your KV Core under Web and IDX settings, I believe, and I was looking for the article, so you may have already covered this, but you do have to select the custom pages for navigation up at the top. Yeah. So those two go hand in hand. So when you're, and just a quick refresher, if you could show them how to get to that again real quick, and you go to Web and IDX.
Yeah, so we did that Web and IDX website manager, edit settings, and then you're just going to go way down to here. So it's your custom navigation. This stuff is the ones that are already there.
And by the way, pro tip, you can rename them. We give them defaults, but like I changed my resources label. I changed it so it said stuff I need to know. And you might want to change your cell label to say something like want to sell your house. So you can change those existing navigation tab names as well as add your own custom navigation tabs.
Yep. And so then right here is where you get to start adding on stuff of your own.
Yeah, and pro tip, Heather, if you scroll all the way to the top, because I know that's a really long page, along the left-hand side, each one of those really long page has its own, it has its own section. So if you jump to custom navigation, it'll bounce you down to the place you need to go.
I always forget to do that. I just like, oh.
I know, I just scroll. A lot of us just scroll, but there are a few little pro tips in there that make it a little easier. So I like to point those out.
Yeah. So last call for any other questions. I'm happy to show you. I got 15 minutes left. Happy to show you guys anything else I can. Anybody? Okay. Well, then what we'll do is we'll get this up on YouTube hopefully in the next day or two. And then if you have any other questions, also in the Facebook page for KV Core, our Inside Real Estate discussion group, if you have suggestions of, because I monitor that, I know Kelly does too, if you have suggestions of what you'd like to see topics covered in some of these, just let us know. How often are we doing this? So basically we're doing it Tuesday right now. We're doing it Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at this same time. I'm going to be doing the Wednesdays, doing a little more of the kind of advanced intermediate. And then the Tuesdays and the Thursdays are going to be a little more of the kind of the basics and just tips and tricks within KV Core. Although the caveat is next Wednesday, I'm on vacation, so you won't see me again for 2 weeks.
And if you want to show everybody, I'm sure you all found it. That's how you ended up here today. But if you want to just go over to the dashboard and just look for it on the training calendar, because we did change the name. It's in the description. You may have been looking for next level strategies, but as I said, we're kind of evolving this. And so the session you're looking for is the KV Core Success Meetup Tips, Tricks, and QA, formerly known as Next Level Strategies. So
yeah, that's right.
Awesome.
Everybody come see me on Wednesdays.
Oh, where was it listed, Nicole? 11:30 Pacific time. Oh, she's in the Pacific. Each one of the time zones.
Yeah.
Yeah, just so you know, when you go into the training calendar, we happen to be on the West Coast, so we just went over to Pacific. If you pull up, say, Eastern time zone, it pulls up the exact same calendar, but we just did the math for you to convert the time zones. So just make sure you jump into your actual time zone. Yeah,
I'm on Pacific because I'm in Portland and it is 12.
Yeah. So Nicole, where are you? Are you in Hawaii?
In Hawaii.
Yeah.
Okay,
unfortunately, we don't have a Hawaii time on there. That's the only one we don't have. So I would jump into the one that makes the best sense for you, and you'll have to do the conversion. And I apologize for that.
Yeah,
we don't currently have a Hawaii time zone.
And take out -3 hours.
Yeah, it is the same calendar no matter which one you go into. We just did the time zone conversion for you. So sorry about that to my Hawaii friends.
California, Oregon, Washington time zone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good question though. Thanks, Nicole.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I will wrap it up. If you need anything else, or if, like I said, just drop stuff in the Facebook group and say, hey, I want to know about this. And because we'd love to know what you want. We want to make this as productive for everyone as we can. All right. I'm going to shut her down then. Thanks, everybody.